Hi, it's Christine from the European Startup Association, and I'm here with Zlatko, one of our members, and he has a startup that's called Rouster. We're super excited to have them on board, and I'm looking forward to today's short interview and introduction to their company. Let me give over to you, Zlatko, to introduce yourself, the company, and maybe even why you started this.
Okay, great. Hi, Christine. Thank you very much for this invitation. So in this order, let's start with myself. I am I've been like 15 years of software developer in different startup companies. I even created one by myself, which actually failed tragically, fortunately really fast. This was some good thing. Apart from this, I have a PhD in computer science. From time to time, I'm teaching in Technical University of Sofia programming and artificial intelligence, fuzzy sets, such things. This is like my hobby. For the last 2 years, probably, I'm really quite devoted to Rouster company. So let me tell you about this. It started actually, this is probably the one interesting part. It started because of a frustration probably about buying computers. You know, when you go to the shop, you buy a computer, you spend a lot of money on it. And at this exact moment, you already know that this computer will be, old and slow and broken in just several years. And then you just need to buy a new one to be, to keep up with the technologies. And it was frustrating for me because I already had quite expensive one, and then I wanted to use it for something a little bit more. And it turns out that I just need to buy another one. So this is how Rouster started. Solving this problem, in my mind, it was like, but why we don't have this in the cloud? We have everything in the cloud. We have our files, our movies, our music, everything is there. We have servers in the cloud, but we don't have personal computers in the cloud. So I do some research back then, and I found that it is actually feasible. It's achievable with some, mixing some technologies here and there. So basically, Rouster is this. Rouster is the full personal computer into the cloud. Like everything, the CPU, the memory, the GPU, whatever you want. It's entirely in the cloud. Because you still to use it in some way, you need a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor. We made it usable basically any device you currently have. You can use it on a laptop or a desktop or even on a smartphone or a TV, whenever you want. Or because we want to make it even cooler, we actually start creating our custom devices. This is our first version of the device, which from your point of view is actually full powered computer. You can do from document editing up to gaming and 3D rendering if you want on this device. So we do this because there are also another benefits on top of this, like we call this the only computer you ever need, because now when you have a computer in the cloud, you will never need to buy a new one. You can upgrade it, indefinitely in the time. You can upgrade it as much as you need, and you can actually downgrade it if you want. It is up to you. But then also you have included some kind of support. It is more secure because your files are now backed regularly. We have some network security on top of this and so on. And the interesting part is, this is some recent discovery from us, that it is actually environmentally friendly. Because with Rouster, you have lower carbon emissions, you have lower electronic waste, and computer-related electronic waste is currently probably the most growing waste in the whole waste thing, So basically, this is us. We recently received some funding, and we spent it entirely on proving the product. So we made 2 proof of concept products. We give it to a lot of test users and even more focus groups. And we had like 90% acceptance rate. Like 90% of test users and focus groups, they were like, okay, I will buy it now. now. It's really huge. And then on top of this, we started a landing page and we make a really short Google campaign. And we made test sales, like it was the end of the funnel when the user is supposed to click pay now. And then, of course, this was why it was short company, because it is a little bit nasty to the user to tell them, okay, you need to wait a little bit, but it is almost here. And we made some sales at 8.5 euro customer acquisition cost. So we actually achieved really good results. And probably the most important thing currently for us is, fund it in order to keep it forward, to make it grow fast, because it should grow fast. And this is where we are currently. This is Rouster, and this is where we are. This is how it started, actually.
Sounds really, really intriguing, interesting, and really nice. Because when I looked into it, I was like, I was already intrigued in what it was. And it's really nice to hear it from you in person rather than just reading it and understanding it a bit more. And I was thinking about the sustainability factor there as well. And yes, every so often you will have to buy a new computer, which is quite frustrating, just because they can't keep up with the software or something like that. So that's really intriguing. So I might look into that for myself as well. We will see.
We got you as a customer, I guess.
Yeah. Very good.
Great.
And then another question, there were probably a lot of challenges that you came across, and funding was one of them probably on something, but is there a specific learning, one or two, that you can share with our entrepreneurs that you can help them to maybe avoid or solving challenges in a quicker way?
Probably the biggest, the top one thing that I can say here is something that I learned from my first, and I'm repeatedly doing this here. It is, of course, being persistent and so on, but probably it is to always have plan B, and if possible, also plan C. Because in this whole adventure, on every step when you're proceeding through your milestones and your goals, there are things that just didn't happen as they're planned. Basically, most of the things always happen not the way you're planning them. And if you have plan B and plan C, you're just able to proceed with this. This is for me probably the most important learning from my first startup, and the most important thing that makes me keep going through this startup.
I think this is really good tip, really good tip. And I always say this, always. So you were just reading my mind. Always say nothing ever goes to plan. It's just the way it is, because who knew what will happen in the world? Who knew what happens? There's so many external factors that you cannot influence, and it will change the way you run the business. It will change the speed of how you go, and you can plan everything perfectly, and it doesn't go to plan. However, it does not mean you should not plan, but it just means you have a plan A, B, and C, and then you can see, and you're flexible enough to adjust. So super good advice.
You should plan your goals and your milestones, but the way that you're going to achieve it should always be, you should be agile there.
You have this and this point, and then in between it's like this.
Exactly. That's the situation here.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for that short introduction to what you're doing. And I hope we got a few other people intrigued in what you're doing and looking into it. Underneath the video, I will link to your page and everything so people can check it out immediately. And we're really looking forward to support you and your company further with our association. So thank you for your time today.
And thank you very much. And I really appreciate all you're doing here. Thank you.
Thank you.